Good morning.
Morning.
Your voice sounded so funny.
That's the cuteness coming in.
Is that your morning voice?
Yeah, it does. It's a little bit official, actually.
Good morning, Jenna. Jenna on Instagram. And good morning, Katie. So, how are we all doing this morning? Good morning, Emma. See a little love heart there from Emma Gold.
Ooh.
All the way from Australia. How you doing?
You got your skis out?
So, welcome this morning. We were trying to decide what to talk about. And initially, we thought we would talk about forging the new normal as a couple. Then we decided, what did you say about the new normal, Stuart?
I think people are tired of hearing that term.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
So, the new normal, we're both sick of hearing the term, the new normal.
Yeah.
So basically, in my eyes, there's an opportunity anytime to create a new normal.
Yeah, very much so.
Obviously there's changes in routines and things, but what's your take on the new normal, Stuart?
Changes in behaviour, changes in perception, changes in activity. It's just like
Good
everything.
morning,
it's
Dazzler.
like things in life, they get thrown at you, and it's up to us to decide how we actually respond or react to them, or deal with them, and the like. So there's quite a number of topics. I know we've asked people over the last kind of few weeks, and
yeah,
apologies
yeah.
for last week for feeling under the weather. Back to full strength the very next day. Must have been a one-day thing.
Back to full strength, playing golf next day. All good.
Yeah, all good. All good.
But yeah, no, we actually thought today we might talk about being alcohol free as a couple, because it's something we get asked quite a bit about. People are quite interested in how that looks, and what it's like.
How it feels.
How it feels, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what that process is like shifting to an alcohol-free life. So if that's something that interests you, then we'll maybe continue down that path and scrap the new normal, because it's going to happen.
It's up to you what that means. Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. Physiology can be frustrating at times.
Yeah.
I suppose our new normal is actually living as an alcohol-free couple, family. It's not just about, what does it look like, as Susie's saying, or what does it feel like, but it's how it is, what it does for you, what it opens up. We've all got stories and so forth, and I suppose 2 years past April, I would have admitted to the fact that alcohol took over in that respect. So the last kind of couple of years in terms of living as a alcohol-free couple has opened so many more doors.
Absolutely. So I just kind of, because of my anxiety, had cut back alcohol a lot, and had got to the point where I would have like a glass of Prosecco instead of a bottle that I might have used to have had on a Saturday night or a Friday night. But what I was beginning to discover for me, that was alcohol was making me, like, my anxiety worse the next day. As a couple, I think like we were very different kind of drinkers. Like, I was kind of like a happy, like, want to sing, want to dance on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and Stuart would be finished work, have a drink and fall asleep, and then we'd end up probably arguing because I'd be like, come on, join the party, and you'd be like, I've had a hard week.
I'm exhausted. Yeah.
Emma's asking what's the hardest part about giving up alcohol. So from my experience, and you can share yours, Stuart, but from my experience, the hardest part of giving up alcohol was changing the routine. So for me, alcohol would be something that I'd maybe reach for at, say, like a 5 o'clock or a 6 o'clock. Okay, so when the kids were younger, and like you'd be cooking dinner and you'd be trying to do homework and you'd be trying to do this and trying to do that, and it was almost like it's like that was your treat. It's like, okay, this is gonna get me through cooking dinner and dealing with this really stressful period up till the kids get to bedtime and have a drink then. But what I discovered, similar to stopping smoking, like once if I didn't have a drink at 5 or 6 o'clock, and then maybe Stuart would say like 8 o'clock, do you want a glass of wine? I'd be like, no, I'm actually past the point then. So for me, I knew that it was kind of like almost like a little bit of a crutch, I suppose, at that time. So it was really shifting the routines. But I don't know, what was the hardest part for you?
Not too dissimilar. For me, it was the paradigm shift, which is similar to routine change. It's coming away from when am I going to have the next drink, etc., etc. Your thinking process changes. The equation is changed. So rather than thinking, what will I have to drink versus what will I do instead? Kind of thing.
I think that's one thing, huge. Like when we both made the shift to stop drinking, we did like some really random stuff that we would never have been able to do before. Like it would be like 9 o'clock at night and we were like, right kids, let's go in the car, like on a Friday night, let's go in the car, and we would drive to like a castle or something and go for a walk at like 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. Or we'd get the kids up, bless them, get up at like 5:30 in the morning and go and watch the sunrise on a Saturday or a Sunday morning at the beach, because we'd never really been able to do that because our weekends did revolve around like having a drink or catching up with friends, having a drink. Laura on Instagram saying she stopped drinking a year or so ago. Her husband cut back drastically last year over lockdown. He started having a couple of beers on a Saturday afternoon, but soon recognised it made him feel crap. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. Once you begin to recognise, like, actually there's so many opportunities. So we were saying like our daughter Lily is 10, and like this Friday night she wanted to go to the park with her friends, and we obviously stay in the country and we had to drive her down there and drive her back. And we were saying like how previously we would have had to have that discussion, like, okay,
we've got a short straw.
Who is going to be the driver? Who's going to be the one that has to pick up the kids, you know? And we always used to be like, oh, I can't wait till the kids are older and they can drive us about, you know? But so like I think the opportunities, and I know for me when I gave up 2 years ago, I had so much going on with writing my book and opening like the sanctuary, and like I had such a crazy hectic time that I could not have done all the things I've achieved if I was drinking. I know for a fact I couldn't, because it's offered me so much more clarity, and I think it's offered us so much more connection as a couple.
Yeah, definitely. It's made everything seem much bigger. The old saying about, when the world changes, I'll change. What's the other way around is we all know that, when you change, the world changes. And that's exactly what we've discovered, is that our world, our environment, our behaviours, our activities, everything's changed. And it's all for the positive. Nothing can hold us back, just ourselves, clearly. So it's about the ownership question. Ownership, really is like, it's the act or the right to possess something, and that is possessing the decisions you make. It isn't easy, but when it's worthwhile, like everything, when it's worthwhile, it's worth battling through, and it's worth thinking about the potential outcomes that you can actually have. And that's exactly what we've discovered as well. In fact, we've seen more of Scotland in the last 2 years, probably in the last 15.
The last lifetime. Emma's saying that great points, applies to her. She loves the idea of giving up drinking, opens up the opportunity to do more with your life and kids. Absolutely. That alone makes it worth it. Heading to work now, but we'll watch the rest later. Thanks, guys. Love you too.
Love you, Ems.
have a good day at work. So yeah, I mean, I think like, so a lot of people think like the social side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for me, like I was like, my friends and myself were huge social drinkers. We were like mega partiers in our day.
Yeah.
in a day when I was young. But no, we were like big partiers, and I was probably the one that was like, come on, have another shot, have another drink, stay out longer. So that's quite a change. And I know, like, to start with, I missed like I think sometimes like some friends didn't invite me to things because they thought, well, what's the point, because she's not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggled with that, I know, to start with, from the friendship side of things. But then I made some new friends along the way as well, and we just do different things. And now I do different things with my friends. Like, we'll go like for nice walks, we go for lunches. You know, I was at a friend's party recently and wasn't drinking, and I think there's like so much alcohol free options, and this is maybe something we talk about, because I don't like fake wine or fake drink per se. Like, it's the same, like, I'm vegetarian and I hate like fake bacon, or like, I'm just like, if you're not going to eat bacon, just don't eat bacon. If you're not going to drink beer, just don't drink beer.
Yeah.
But you're the opposite. Like, you like your alcohol-free beers and stuff.
Yeah.
So...
But really, at the end of the day, it's just about changing up. You know, doing things differently. You know, we are definitely finding that everything is brighter, it's sharper, it's clearer. You know, you can think smarter, you can think straight. You don't really waste any of your day, you don't waste any of your time, and so forth. And, you know, get out and, you know, I've seen a number of different kind of events and social medias and all that kind of stuff that there are alcohol-free parties and discos and events and all that kind of stuff. And some of these people look mad. And that's just being completely sober as well.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, yeah, similar for me. I think it was a bit of a crutch. It was a bit of a, I wasn't a huge binge drinker. I was just an extremely regular drinker, which meant you was never really hugely drunk, but it was just on a regular basis, which also meant as well that it curtailed what you could actually do in terms of driving and energy and, you know, your driving.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I felt like we were wasting, and especially when you've got kids, like, you feel like you're wasting so much of the next day, like feeling sorry for yourself, and then like as you get older, it leads into like your week, and if you're working, then it's not really ideal. Whereas when you don't, there's like so much opportunity to, like, you wake up, you're like, oh, like, what are we going to do today? Like, you can actually like go and decide. Laura's saying that she was a big party animal, and she used to think people would think she was boring. Now she's stopped. She said there's loads of other things to do instead with like-minded people. And I think that's the thing, like, I think it's becoming more and more socially acceptable not to drink. And I know people ask me now, and that's why I thought it was quite a good thing to speak about, because people are always like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. But you can. But I think people are still worried about that stigma. And I know a lot of friends who don't drink or are wanting to give up alcohol, and they just pretend when they're out because they don't want their friends to say to them like, oh, have a drink, take a drink.
Yeah. Because yeah, exactly. Susie touched on it earlier about part of a driver. What made me do it as well is that I remembered we gave up smoking the same day in 2008. Our last cigarette was actually in Mauritius Airport on the way back from honeymoon, which by the time we got back to Aberdeen we were almost divorced, right enough. But
delays and no cigarettes.
That was a fact of, well, you did that, so you can do this. And Sarah Smith there saying that she gave up alcohol a few years ago, and she's got a tremendous term for it, and said it is liberating. And liberating means to kind of set free, is to open up and to allow it to happen. So that opens all those different doors that maybe are not available to you when you're actually.
I think it makes you recognise like a lot of the behaviours as well are like totally unacceptable. Like, not just like your own, but other people when they're drunk, and like, you know, those things that you would never tolerate. Like, if you were sober, or the situations you put yourself in, or so I think there's so much power to giving up alcohol. And as I say, like, there's a huge movement now, and you do get like alcohol-free gins, and I have found one nice alcohol-free fizzy that you bought for our wedding anniversary, which was lovely.
Marks and Spencer's Fizzero.
Fizzero. So yeah, you know, I think as a couple who's alcohol-free, it has been one of the best decisions we have ever made. Yeah,
without a doubt. You know, health-wise, you know, fitness-wise, mental agility-wise, there's no real downsides to it, to be fair. I had a conversation with a guy last week, and that's exactly what you were saying. He said, you know, I can't think of any downsides to it. Now, when is it that you actually have a conversation about a certain subject and you look at the pros and cons? And that's exactly what it is. You know, it's all pros. On that sort of basis. But hey, listen, people can drink, people enjoy drinks, and
yeah,
so
like I've got no, like I don't think
tremendous.
anything about that. Like Paula's saying that she should take a lesson on giving up drinking and smoking. You're right about the next day, it's just a waste of a day in your life as you struggle to do anything. Totally. But you know, like there like the one thing that I do like worries me about not, it doesn't worry me, but I think about not drinking is like big occasions, like. And I've never said that I would never drink again, but I can't imagine I ever would, because that's been over 2 years and it hasn't bothered me. But, you know, it's things like when our elder two get married, for example, or like, I think of things like that, like it was like my eldest's like hen night, for example. Will it be weird that I'm the only one not drinking, or will it, but I think I have like, I was at my friend's 40th, and that was one of the first things I went to, like not drinking, and I was the first person on the dance floor raving up. So I don't think it makes that much difference. I used to think I used to drink for confidence, so that's kind of how it started with me. Like I started drinking when I was like 15 or whatever, because I'd struggled with anxiety, and I used to just do for social confidence, but
it's perceptions, as I've mentioned earlier. You know, if somebody's a smoker and they give up, people pat you in the back. Well done, great stuff. If you give up drinking, they say, "What's wrong with you? What's the matter?" You know.
Totally.
So if that is the reason, if that is the perception, if that is the view, it doesn't surprise you as to what Susie's saying is that you kind of hide you're not a drinker, if you like, and so forth. But hey, that's all changing. The world is changing.
Yeah.
And it's all about the choices you make and the life you want to lead. And you know, Susie's been doing a lot about that, about you know, living your fullest life. And what does that mean? And what does it take to do that? It's like everything else when you're in a job. What does it take to do the job? You have to work at it. It doesn't just
Does anyone have any questions about it? Or about anything? Or Stuart, you can maybe share the best alcohol-free beers in your opinion.
Well, I'll tell you, they've certainly upped their ante, is for sure. Moretti do a very good alcohol-free beer.
You like the Cobra, do you?
Cobra Zero, that's very nice. And Peroni, they've got a great alcohol-free beer as well. So there's a fair selection.
Yana's saying she's very fortunate she doesn't need it to be social, and it's never been a feature in her life, but had negative experiences through her life due to alcohol. And I think that's the thing, you know, people will make this decision to give up alcohol for a huge variety of different reasons. You know, not just health based or social based, you know, it could be life experience based as well.
I'll tell you one thing, if I can just jump in. What I've realised was, because I've always been, by and large, you know, goal setter, you know, objectives and all that kind of stuff to pursue. But when I was drinking, you kind of drop them a wee bit because you don't know what it's going to be like, you know, afterwards. You know, how much you're going to have, or you know, what you're going to feel like. Going back to Emma's question about, you know, what can you do? You know, purpose having a purpose for me was really key. A purpose for going to do something the next day, or planning to do something, or arranging an activity, or to go and be somewhere or do something. And so the goal setting aspect of it gave me the purpose. If at any given moment you may have, we do human beings, you can slip, or you can fall into a little bit of negative thinking and so forth. But having that goal, that purpose, that reason for doing what you're doing, it was without a shadow of a doubt helped govern the behaviour, which was non-alcohol.
Yeah. Can I ask those of you who have stopped? So like Laura, good morning, Sarah. Laura over on Instagram, and Sarah, and anybody else who doesn't drink. Did you replace the stopping drinking or stopping smoking or anything like that with something else? Because I think, like, although I didn't give it up because of addiction, I certainly replaced it with cake. So for me, it's replaced with cake and pasta.
You just change your addiction then.
Absolutely. So, typically I would say try and replace it with something healthy. But as I said, it's great that we can do all these amazing things and treat ourselves to go different places. But I just wondered if you guys had replaced it with anything at all.
I suppose
you didn't really replace it with anything, did you? You have replaced it with alcohol-free beer, I suppose, but
yeah.
I think another thing actually to cover is
really.
You initially struggled with sleep, to get to sleep, because you would have had a glass of wine or whatever, and that would have helped you get to sleep. And I know a lot of people, you will use alcohol like that to try and get them to sleep. But what happens then is you're not getting a good sleep. What I love as a wife of a snorer and ex-drinker is he doesn't really snore anymore.
I never thought I did it.
So that's a bonus. Jenna's saying she struggles to keep her own schedule. She stopped drinking as much when she had her kids. Leanna's saying cake. Ainsley's saying when she stopped smoking, she replaced it with tea. So she would have a cup of tea. So, yay to cake, Leanna. I'm with you there. And Laura, no, she didn't. She actually finds it hard to know what to do in order when she's out. Because generally I only drink water or tasty hot drinks. I don't even drink Coke, etc. anymore. Health freak. Hey Laura, well here's the top tip, because I know you love your essential oils. So what I used to do, and we love, is to have tonic water with your doTERRA lime or lemon essential oil.
Yep.
So put one drop in your glass and it is amazing, or even sparkling water. And it's like a little treat to yourself. Yeah, refreshing, nice. So then you get your health freak and you get your mood boosting vibes, raise your vibration instead of lowering it through alcohol. So that's another thing actually from my spiritual woo-woo side, that when we drink, we lower our vibration, we reduce our vibration and put ourselves into this negative energy. And obviously alcohol is a depressant as well. So that's not really great. So any way that we can raise our vibration is awesome, clear out that negativity. So reducing alcohol has certainly boosted our vibration. We probably dance more at home.
More wildly, indeed.
We dance more, we laugh more, we argue less.
Yeah, definitely.
We do more fun stuff. We're outside more. We were outside a lot, but Leanna is saying the challenge for me would be having the tea or coffee without the fancy piece. Yeah, I hear you. So that's why I have herbal tea now, because it's a fancy piece that isn't quite so necessary with a herbal. But with normal tea, kind of need a biscuit to dunk in it, do you?
Yeah.
Ainsley is saying, yeah, she has a few cheeky biscuits with her cup of tea. So, awesome. So, I don't know if anybody else has any other questions or any topics you want us to cover. Obviously, we're both coaches as well, so if that's something you want us to cover, a topic specific to coaching that you maybe struggle with, we can give both sides. from our experience there, or anything else. So let us know. You can pop it in the comments. You can drop me a message. Save us just rambling on. But yeah, let us know if there's anything you want us to cover or any other questions about giving up alcohol, and what that looks like. So I think it's an interesting one. I mean, we don't, as I say, like, we don't have alcohol in our house, and Zara's asking, how did you become coaches, as this word seems to pop up a lot lately? Okay, so for me, do you want to go first?
Ladies first, always.
Zara had never heard of a coach before. Awesome. So, Zara, I had heard of coaches before, and I had, like, through my experience of anxiety and things, I had seen, like, counsellors, I had seen therapists, I had been for CBT, I'd been to all these different things. Even we spoke about it in another episode about going for marriage counselling. But what we discovered when we were going, like, through marriage counselling, for example, was that we weren't getting actions on how to progress forward. Okay, mm-hmm. So all the things that we were going through, like the counselling, you're kind of going over. But what wasn't coming from that was the opportunity to progress. So we're both very innovative. We're both very forward thinking. We're both about empowering people. And I think for me as a coach, I was a therapist, so and still am a therapist. So I do my Reiki healing and things like that. But the decision to go and train to be a coach came because I was wanting to help my clients progress further. I knew through my experience of anxiety that I had this formula that works, and I wanted to share it with people. But ultimately, I wanted the credentials, I suppose. I was already coaching people in a way through the clients and stuff that I was seeing. And I have done coaching through being a manager in previous jobs and things that I had done in the past. Kind of helping people achieve their goals. I kind of do that naturally with friends and things. So my decision was to go and do that so I could support more people and empower more people to move from the places they felt stuck, because the majority of my clients who came to me were stuck, overwhelmed, feeling that there was no way out. They'd been going round and round and round in circles. So a coach helps you move from that place of feeling stuck to help you find the steps to move forward. But they don't tell you what to do. They help you figure it out, which means that it's lasting. So that's empowering. So, but sure, you've been a coach for a long time.
To be fair, call it what you will. At the end of the day, you can name anything, but having been involved with people for over 30 years in recruitment and coaching and mentoring staff and developing people and working to try and help identify skills in people to make them high performance achievers and stuff like that. A couple of things was, I realised that what Susi was saying there about the counselling we had was discovering what the difference between counselling and coaching. Counselling being looking at the past and coaching looking for the future. Mm-hmm. The best analogy I could probably give is it's a bit like if you're in a little stream and you shake all the water and all the mud comes up. That's what I'd probably say is kind of coaching in a way. It stirs up. Counselling, sorry. It stirs up. And it gets all murky and you get confused. Because that's what we would leave something thinking that we're actually worse off than we were before we went in. What coaching does is that it identifies things, lets it settle, but we teach people how to swim in the water, and that's what the counselling doesn't do. It doesn't teach you how to swim after the clearing up all the mud and all that kind of stuff.
That's our experience of counselling anyway, in my previous experience. I'm sure there are counsellors out there who are very
absolutely supportive. Indeed. Maybe it's the place we were in at that sort of time. But again, it's the development of people, it's helping people identify within themselves that they've got the capabilities. It's trying to extract that. It's using tools to help people lead a happier, more fulfilling life.
Yeah. And Laura's just saying on Instagram here, great explanation. She used to think coaching was a luxury, but it's been life-changing for her so much that she's training to be one now. Would never have thought to do this in the past. And absolutely. So I was about to say that, like, when I was writing my book and I was opening the sanctuary and we'd like moved out, like it was like there was so much stuff going on at the time. I was like, I can't actually cope with this. Like, I have no idea how I am going to get through this, and my head's going to explode and I can't manage. And I got a coach at that point who really, like, if it hadn't been for her, like, I wouldn't have got my book in on time. I probably wouldn't have finished the things, because she just helped me get that clarity and the actions, like, for me to figure out in my head what was actually important. Ainsley's got to nip off. See you later, Ainsley.
See ya.
So yeah, I think, like, for me, it's like I have my own coach that I work with, and yeah, it's awesome. Sandra's saying she agrees with that. Counselling just confuses what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think, like, some clients I will refer to get counselling to work through. I think counselling is really important for working through deep trauma, and things like that. Once you have explored that and processed that, then there's beautiful ways to heal it. So Jenna's asking me if that's the same coach I have now. No, it's not, because my coach, when I was writing my book, actually stopped coaching and to focus on a different part of her business. But interestingly, she's just back again to be a coach. So I was speaking to her the other day. So I will be connecting with her again to help me, because I think the thing is, there's different types of coaches as well. So you need to find someone that you're aligned to, and you might need different people at different times. So it's finding out who's got the right technique for you, the right style for you. You know, do you want someone that's going to be really gung-ho and push you and fire you up, or do you want someone that's going to be more gentle? You know, so it's working out who you feel aligned to work with is really, really important. So, you know, if you are considering it, have a discovery call, have a call with that person first, check out their webpage, do all the work to make sure that you're a right fit for each other.
And one of the other powerful things as well as the referral. You know, being referred to someone obviously means that there's been experience with them that can be related.
So check out testimonials, referrals, things like that. So the majority of Stuart's work. So somebody has actually got in contact about Stuart's work. So Stuart is not hugely tech savvy, are you, Stu?
No.
The majority of Stuart's work, in fact, probably nearly all your work, comes from referral. So he doesn't really have to do a lot of advertising or anything like that. But I will pop Stuart's details in the bottom if anybody is interested in finding out more about Stu too. And people can connect with you as well. So we're both really passionate about making sure things are the right fit and supporting people. And
I would offer a very safe place for people to be in, to talk about things to identify. And that's what we offer, for sure, definitely.
Yay. Cool. So hopefully that answered your question, Sarah. So Stuart's been coaching for 1 million years through having his own business and recruitment and his own training company. And then I'm a more recent coach based on my own experience. I'm wanting to share that with the world. And so I work with the Association of Coaching as well. So I follow their code of ethics and do training and CPD with them as well.
And I want to say that we are both results driven as opposed to process driven. You know, it's the results that we want and we see with the clients we work with, as opposed to just going through the process. I had this conversation. I had one of my clients finishing their coaching package yesterday, and she's done incredible. And she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you," and I'm like, "You can come back,
But like you have the tools, now. Like for me, like I hear of people working with coaches like for years and years and years and years and years. To me, that's more therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think coaching is great to use at certain points, and then you can pause for a bit, go and implement all the stuff, allow it to settle, work it, and then maybe if you have something else coming up for you that you're wanting to focus on a project or something, then call in the coach. You know, like people should not be coaching you for like 10 years. The same person should not be coaching you for 10 years. I don't think. You can go back and see them, but I don't mean like consistently.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, I think that one of the things that I found about coaches is the accountability factor for me was huge. And I think that's what Susi is saying, is that I mean, I know that you know people may have coaches for years and years and years, but it's how often do you engage with the coach and what you're using the coach for. You can use them intensely during a certain activity, or you want to achieve something, or it could be a monthly or a quarterly discussion of an accountability call.
Yeah.
Because having self-accountability is one thing, and it's quite difficult for anybody. Even some of the most successful, high-performing coaches have coaches. So I mean, that says it all. And that's purely for accountability.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, because I have a number of people, and myself as well, like in my membership, for example, who book an hour with me each month, and the majority of clients this month chose coaching for that hour as opposed to healing. For that factor, for accountability. So what it means is we set goals together, but then I check up on them and make sure they're doing it. And they like that, because otherwise we're just like, well, you know, life passes, didn't get a chance to do it. But when you have someone kind of checking in, seeing how you're getting on, it kind of helps you get that focus and clarity.
Definitely.
Once it's written down, it tends to happen.
Without a doubt.
So
Great stuff.
Awesome. Well, have a great day. This is our day off, which day off in our household means we are tending to do stuff around our farm and starting out fencing and bridges and all sorts of outdoorsy planting and things. So we're going to try and get that done before it rains and gets super windy here in Scotland. But yeah, I can't wait to see you guys next week. But any topics, please do reach out and we will discuss them.
Definitely. Be delighted to.
Leanna's away for a cuppa and maybe some cake. Nice.
Sweet. Make sure it's real sweet.
Right. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're sending your love.
Nice to hear you. Thank you.